To celebrate our 25th wedding anniversary, Pamela Baker and I went on a 5,000-mile epic road trip together. This is the story of that adventure. On the first day, we drove from our home in Kennedy to Big Bend National Park. We could see the mountains from the window where we stayed in Lajitas. This is us at the Starlight Theater in Terlingua, where we had dinner and saw the famous ghost town. On day 2, the plan was to spend the day exploring Big Bend National Park. The desert and mountain scenery that we saw on the drive from Lajitas to Big Bend National Park was absolutely breathtaking. It took about an hour to get there. Everything is big in this part of Texas. Lots of wide open spaces. Pamela and I love to go hiking together, and Big Bend is famous for its 80 outstanding hiking trails. So our first stop on that morning was the Lost Mine Trailhead, which we had heard great things about.
Okay, for everybody listening, it's late June and it's 67 degrees here in Big Bend National Park on the Lost Mine Trailhead. It's very pleasantly cool. Nice breeze.
The information that we read about the Lost Mine Trail said that the trail was 4.8 miles long, and hikers could expect to climb 1,131 feet in elevation to reach the top of the mountain, which is part of the Chisos mountain range. Pam spotted a cottontail scampering through the brush at the edge of the trail.
That's only about 100 feet up, man. That ain't far.
1,000 feet up.
Maybe 200. We're getting there. This is an adventure. We're above the clouds.
Are we really?
See those clouds down there?
Yeah.
A white-tailed deer crossed the trail between us and a couple of fellow hikers.
According to my watch, we've been walking for an hour and 10 minutes. So we probably have at least 20 minutes to go to get to the top, at least.
Okie dokie. If you find our bodies, tell our children we love them.
The view from the top was worth every bit of the 90 minutes of uphill hiking that it took to get there. It was truly breathtaking. We were literally standing in the clouds. I will let you in on a secret. Pamela Brooks Baker is more than just a little bit afraid of heights. So there were times where it was very difficult for her to walk up to the edge and look down. But she made it all the way to the top and all the way down without me having to carry her, and I'm so proud of her for that. After lunch, we drove back to the park and explored the Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive, which is a 30-mile long one-way drive with the most amazing desert and mountain scenery you could ever hope to see. For the first time in our lives, Pamela and I saw the Rio Grande River. Honestly, at that particular place, it looked more like a creek to me. But I'm so glad we got to see this iconic geographical landmark together for the first time underneath the towering cliffs on the Mexico side. I love road trips. You see the most interesting things along the way, such as this white blimp we saw in the Marfa area. We weren't sure if it was a weather balloon or what it was, but Google helped us figure out that it's actually a Border Patrol blimp, which is used to detect low-flying aircraft coming across the Texas-Mexico border. Of course, we had to make a stop to see Prada Marfa. It's one thing to see pictures of these places, but it's quite different to experience them for yourself. Pam wasn't able to find the handbag she was looking for, so we just kept going down the road toward New Mexico. This is where we crossed from Texas into New Mexico, the land of enchantment. The drive from Lajitas to Las Cruces, New Mexico was about 360 miles, so it was a pretty full day of driving, mostly in Texas. We saw parts of Texas that we have never seen before. We got to spend some time in the pool at the hotel where we stayed in Las Cruces. Okay. We were able to test out the underwater capabilities of my new GoPro camera, and the rest and relaxation helped us to get ready for another long day of driving ahead of us.
That's inappropriate.
Hotel E. We're staying at the Hotel E. Are you having fun, Pam?
Yeah.
Good.
We got an early start on day 4 because the plan was to drive about 8.5 hours from Las Cruces, New Mexico to Grand Canyon National Park in Arizona. The sunrise was beautiful. We made it to Arizona. Next stop, Grand Canyon. You having fun, Pam? So much fun.
So much fun.
We stopped in Winslow for lunch, and Pam liked her burger so much she took this picture and another one of the dessert. Winslow is famous for its spot on the historic Route 66, but also for standing on the corner park, which features two statues of the two songwriters that wrote the song Take It Easy, made famous by the Eagles. We were standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, and it was such a fine sight to see. Nothing could have prepared us for the moment when we first saw the Grand Canyon together.
Wow. Wow. Well, you might get a little woozy here.
I'm a little woozy. I think
I have no words to describe that moment and that feeling. I will say this: if you've never been, you should go. After that first look, we went to go get some dinner, but after dinner we had to go back to see sunset at the Grand Canyon. The sunset colors were spectacular. Our road trip plan included spending day 5 as a full day to explore Grand Canyon National Park. Like we did in Big Bend, we decided the best way to spend this day would be to go on a hike. We chose to hike the South Kaibab Trail to Cedar Ridge. It was a good choice and so much more than what we expected.
At the next stop sign, turn right.
You okay, Pam? Everything all right? You seem a little distraught. Got a little acrophobia? You got a little acrophobia going on? Look, it's a chipmunk.
Don't fall.
What is it? What kind of animal is that? It's not as beautiful as you.
Oh, thank you. I can't believe I'm doing this.
You're so brave.
Look, we got
0.63 miles. We're doing good.
We're almost a third of the way.
Doing good. Doing good. Pretty good.
This is crazy that we're even here.
It's a little crazy.
so glad I have overcome my... Dude, why are you grabbing me?
I wanted to get a picture of you.
Don't grab me because you're going to push me off the cliff.
I'm not going to push you up. So take in the view.
Yeah, I'm a little terrified. I'm almost considering like walking back up
I
right
thought
now.
last night was impressive, but this is like 10 times more.
Uh-huh.
Holy moly.
Oh my God.
Just keep walking, just keep walking, just keep walking.
Remember how I fell a minute ago? Like
Okay, just go slow. Pace yourself. It's not amateur hour here. This is not the Escondido Creek Parkway.
Nope.
It has a slightly higher skill level rating. You're a natural.
Mm-hmm.
You were born for this.
I don't know.
The trail is about 3 miles long, and it took us about 5 hours. The elevation change is 1,200 feet, which is a little different because instead of climbing a mountain, you're climbing part of the way down into the Grand Canyon and then up to get out of the canyon. There were cowboys and mules at this point on the trail where it was time for us to turn around and climb out. We figured they were there to make money from tourists who decided they needed some help getting out.
That gets the heart pounding. Little sprint up the rocks.
It doesn't do it justice at all. Like, you can't. The picture's 2D. This is just, it's absolutely breathtaking. It's stunning. Stop.
How you doing? You doing okay? Can I get you a bottle of water? I've got one in my backpack.
Yeah. Well, then, I don't want to steal your water. It's your water.
But I'm not thirsty.
Why aren't you thirsty?
Mm.
There's something wrong with you. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die out here.
Pam is struggling a little bit with the climb up out of the Grand Canyon.
Everyone, I love you.
She didn't think it was as far down as
I'm
it was.
sorry if I ever hurt any of you. I forgive you if you hurt me.
Oh, but look at this view. It's worth it, right?
Yeah.
The view is totally worth it. I mean, come on. Where else are you going to get a view like that? Nowhere.
Nowhere, you're right.
We walked 1.5 miles and 1,200 feet down into the Grand Canyon, and then we turned around and did the hard part, walking 1.5 miles and 1,200 feet up and out of the Grand Canyon. It was by far the most challenging hike that we have ever done, and also the most unforgettable. The app that we use for trail hiking describes this hike as moderate, and with all due respect, we would have to say it's a little bit more difficult than that. Later that night at the park, we enjoyed a great program about stargazing. The dark skies above the Grand Canyon provide a perfect opportunity to see and learn more about all the planets and stars and galaxies that can be seen on a clear night. We also got to look at the skies through some giant telescopes they had arranged for the program. It was awesome. And now for something completely different. I wasn't sure whether or not to include this, but I figured, what the heck? So when I got the GoPro camera, it came with an app. And each night, that app would take all the bits and pieces that we shot with the camera through the day and edit them all together into one nice little video package. And some of them were very interesting. And I thought this was one of the better ones after day 5. So I thought I would include it. So without further ado, here's the video produced by the GoPro robot. And GoPro robot, if you're listening, thank you.
I'm gonna die out here. I just want to give
Out of the Grand Canyon.
everyone I love you.
She didn't think it was.
On day 6, we drove from the Grand Canyon to Arches National Park in Utah. We stayed in Moab, which is very close to the park and is a really cool town. It took us about 6 hours to get there, which was good because it allowed a few hours in the evening to explore the park. Arches National Park is full of these magnificent rock formations known as pillars.
Are you smiling?
I'm smiling, yes. The biggest smile ever.
Where are we?
Moab.
Arches National Park.
in Utah.
Good guess, though.
That's where we are, the city that we're at.
Well, that's true. Moab's pretty close by. We're at the windows.
I kind of wish we would have made the effort to go in and get a closer look at the windows. But it was very hot and we weren't really dressed in hiking gear. Something for next time if we ever go back, and I hope we do. This is Pam being brave at Arches National Park, driving on this roller coaster of a road.
Harrowing.
Harrowing drive. The main park road is about 40 miles long, and it took us about 3 hours because we stopped at several points along the way to get out and take a closer look.
Are you having fun?
Yes, absolutely. I'm having fun.
We're having so much fun.
It is beautiful.
So what are we doing, Pam?
Laundry.
When you go on the road for 14 days, you have to stop and do laundry. That's part of the adventure, right, Pam? The plan for day 7 was to drive from Arches National Park to Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming. This was supposed to be about an 8-hour drive, although it took us quite a bit longer to get there. More about that later. As we drove north from Utah towards Idaho, we saw more and more mountains. There was even snow at the top of some of the mountains, and this was in late June. As we got closer to Yellowstone National Park, we ran into a major traffic jam. We found out later there was a car crash up ahead in the park. This added about an hour onto our drive, so we ended up arriving just before dark with very little daylight left to look around. There's a buffalo just outside our hotel room window. We're in Yellowstone. Day 8 was the first of 3 days that we stayed in Yellowstone National Park. And since we were staying at the Old Faithful Inn, which is a short walk away from Old Faithful, we thought that was a good place to start. Where's that Bob here? Where's that Bob here? Wow. Seeing Old Faithful erupt was amazing. This would not be our last time to visit the famous geyser during our stay. That's awesome. Pam took this short video of the Old Faithful Inn dining room where we had breakfast. After that, we went for a walk on one of the trails there in the Old Faithful area. The scenery was breathtaking.
It's gurgling right out of the ground.
Don't take a bath there.
It's nature's hot tub. Very, very hot tub. Too hot, really. Better not drop it, huh?
Here's a good shot of the lobby at the Old Faithful Inn. The size of the fireplace was unbelievable. It made me wish we were there during wintertime. The best way I could describe the Old Faithful Inn is that it is the largest log cabin you could imagine.
In Yellowstone, and that is the Grand Prismatic over here on your right or your left.
Prismatic.
1 mile down.
Okie dokie.
We went on a 5-mile-long hike along the Fairy Falls Trail, where we saw this little chipmunk along the way. Staying at the Old Faithful Inn was a bit like traveling in time back to 1904 when the historic hotel was built. There is no air conditioning, there is no Wi-Fi, and there is no television or radio, but there is a fan that can be used to help keep the room cool. The room was actually very comfortable because temperatures are much cooler in Yellowstone in late June than they are in South Texas. Next up was the Grand Prismatic Spring, one of the more famous geological features of Yellowstone National Park. The Grand Prismatic Spring is the largest hot spring in the United States, located in Yellowstone National Park's Midway Geyser Basin. It is renowned for its vibrant, rainbow-like colors caused by heat-loving bacteria, thermophiles, that thrive in the different temperature zones within the spring. The spring's center is a deep blue due to the high water temperature, while the outer bands display orange, yellow, and green hues as the water cools. The colors were absolutely beautiful. After visiting the spectacular Grand Prismatic Spring, we returned to the hotel to watch the sun go down from the second-story deck. There's so much interesting history to the Old Faithful Inn, which was built during the winter of 1903. It is the largest log hotel in the world, possibly even the largest log building in the world. It was built entirely out of materials found within Yellowstone National Park. In a recent survey, it was ranked 36 out of the 150 favorite buildings in America. Day 9 was the second of 3 days that we spent in Yellowstone National Park, and there was a lot to explore with 3,472 square miles. When describing the size of the park, I often tell people to imagine a park that's big enough to hold all of Karnes County, all of Wilson County, and all of Bexar County. That's the size we're looking at. Big.
It's a good time for video. How's it going, Pam? Where are we at? What are we doing?
I just made a very dangerous turn apparently, but we're looking at
Come over here.
Okay. We're at, is it Gibbon Falls? Is that what it's
Gibbon
called?
Falls.
Gibbon Falls.
Yeah. Where are we, Pam? What are we doing?
We're at the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone, looking at this waterfall.
The trail going down into the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone was only 2.3 miles long, but it was very, very steep and quite challenging.
This is a little more than I anticipated, but we can do it.
After seeing the beautiful waterfalls at the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone, we headed toward Mammoth Hot Springs.
Okay, I can see him now.
Red car needs to go.
I can see him now.
It's two. It's two of them.
It's 2 bison. Holy cow. Holy buffalo.
It's bison.
They're buffalo.
How are they going to get out? These people on the other side. See, and you said we weren't seeing any animals. There you go.
We saw some animals.
Woo! Like collapsing.
Are we having fun?
Oh yes. So much fun.
Pam is having so much fun. She likes the driving because it's not scaring her.
Get in your lane.
She's not scared of the other drivers or anything. This is the adventure, right, Pam?
It's the adventure.
It's supposed to look like that. Well, we just caught it during a dry time.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
After a wonderful day of exploring and sightseeing, we returned to the hotel where we saw our old friend the buffalo enjoying the sunlight and chewing his cud. We visited Old Faithful again that evening, and I was able to get some closer pictures using the zoom lens of my phone's camera. The geyser erupts about every 90 minutes, hence the name. I think I could watch the eruption Old Faithful 100 times and it would never get boring. That evening, we enjoyed live music in the lobby performed by a violin player and piano player. It was wonderful. At dusk, we went out to see Old Faithful erupt one more time and also take a look at the planets and stars under the dark skies. But because we woke up so early that morning, we just weren't able to stay up that late. It takes a long time for the skies to get truly dark, and Old Faithful took a little longer than usual to erupt that time. After spending 2 days exploring geysers, trails, rivers, and waterfalls, we thought a good way to spend our third and last day in Yellowstone taking a look at Yellowstone Lake, which is the largest high-altitude lake in North America, measuring 136 square miles. Pam checked the water temperature and said it didn't seem much colder than the lakes up in Canada. But the internet said the average temperature in late June is about 38 degrees and swimming is strongly discouraged due to the risk of hypothermia.
Here's Pamela doing some work while she's on vacation. It's a nice place to work though. You have a lovely office. The lake and the mountains.
We stopped for lunch at Wiley's Canteen, which is part of Lake Lodge Cabins, another beautiful log cabin style hotel. This is the dock where we bought tickets for a boat tour of Yellowstone Lake. It was a beautiful day for a boat ride. I always thought of pelicans as more of a Port Aransas kind of bird, but turns out they like it up here in Wyoming as well. The tour guides on the boat gave us some interesting history on the Lake Yellowstone Hotel, which is the oldest hotel in Yellowstone Park, built in 1891. After our tour of the lake, we drove back to the hotel and came across this herd of what looked to be about 500 bison crossing the park road. It was an amazing thing to see.
Where are we, Pam?
Upper Falls.
Upper Falls. And water mist is making a rainbow. I don't know if you can see it on the video. We can see it from here. It is quite beautiful.
Day 10, which was our last day in Yellowstone National Park, ended with dinner in the dining room at the Old Faithful Inn. Those 3 days in Yellowstone National Park were absolutely wonderful, and we hope to return one day. For day 11, we had originally planned to drive straight from Yellowstone to Salt Lake City, where we planned to spend the night. But then we got to thinking about it and realized it would only be an hour longer if we drove through Jackson Hole, Wyoming, so we thought it would be a great opportunity to see the Grand Teton Mountains. It had been 35 years since I last visited Jackson Hole, and Pam has never been there, so it was a good choice. Grand Teton is the highest mountain of the Teton Range in Grand Teton National Park at 13,775 feet. Climbing Grand Teton is a 14-mile-long hike, climbing 7,000 feet up and 7,000 feet down. We wisely decided not to climb this one, but I'm sure the view from the top must be spectacular. We stopped for brunch in Jackson. I thought this display outside this outfitter store was pretty cool. This was the worst part of our trip. Somewhere between Jackson and Salt Lake City, a rock bounced out of a truck and hit our windshield. When we got home, we had the windshield replaced, and it was very expensive. Pam was in the mood for some karaoke, so that night after dinner, we ventured out to the Tabernacle Social Club, which was a great karaoke bar in Salt Lake City. Day 12 was a mostly driving day. We were headed from Salt Lake City to Durango, Colorado.
Welcome to colorful Colorado.
White knuckles. Pulling into Durango in about 20 minutes. Lovely scenery, but scaring Pam a little bit. We got checked in at the historic Strater Hotel in Durango, which was definitely one of the most beautiful places where we stayed on this trip. We had dinner and got a good night's sleep to prepare us for the next adventure on this 25th anniversary road trip. I've spent my whole life watching these old home movies of the time when my mom and dad and my brother and some other family members took a ride on the historic Durango to Silverton train in Colorado. I think they went on this train ride somewhere around the summer of 1963, and since I was born about 2.5 years later, unfortunately I wasn't able to go with them. But I'll never forget watching the home movies and listening to my mom and dad talk about what a wonderful and beautiful train ride it was, and so it's something that I've always wanted to do. And since Durango is on the way home from Yellowstone, sort of, Pam and I decided to get tickets and go on this train ride as part of our adventure together. For me, especially, Day 13 and our train ride from Durango to Silverton, Colorado was absolutely a dream come true. We got our first look and listen to one of the Durango trains as we were walking around town that morning. We arrived at the train station and got our first look at the train that would carry us through the mountains to Silverton and back. This train is over 100 years old.
We're on the Durango to Silverton train in Durango, Colorado, and we're about to leave for Silverton. So it should be a fun ride. And we're moving.
Riding in the last car of the train meant we had some great views looking out the back. Hi, Pam!
Hi.
Where are we?
On the back of a train.
On the back of a train. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Isn't that beautiful?
Hey, honey, are you having a good time?
Yes.
Pam's having a good time, and so am I. We're having a big day. It's a very big day. Where are we, Pam?
Silverton.
We're in Silverton, Colorado.
In a world where so many things seem to be changing so fast, I find it very comforting to know that this train was operating over 100 years ago, and it was running in 1963 when my mom and dad and brother rode the train, and in the year 2025 it's still running just the same as it always has. After the 3.5-hour ride from Durango to Silverton, we had a great lunch at Handlebars during the 2-hour layover, and also had time to tour the Silverton Museum. Before retiring, Pam's dad worked in a gold mine, so the mining history of the town was especially interesting for us. After the train ride, we walked around town and enjoyed some of the beautiful flowers they have planted all around Durango. We had a wonderful dinner together to end the day. Day 14 was a pretty uneventful day of driving from Durango to where we would spend the night in Lubbock. We did stop along the way in Farmington, New Mexico, to take this quick video of the house where my mom and dad and brother and other family members lived in the late 50s and early 60s before they moved from New Mexico to Austin, Texas. This was the first time that I've ever seen this house, although it was well documented in our collection of home movies. On day 15, the last day of our vacation, we drove from Lubbock to our home in Kennedy, Texas. This is a picture I took of the two of us when we got out of the car when we pulled into our driveway. After 5,000 miles on the road, it was good to be home, but it was the greatest vacation ever. We will never forget it.